Word for metallic dust? What's the English word for the metallic dust, or more precisely the tiny remains, waste, of drilling, welding, cutting through metal, and similar metal processing?
I think you're looking for the word shavings. Filings would be okay, too.
You could generally use swarf, which also works for other materials too. Swarf generally implies relatively big pieces of waste though. Metal dust would be acceptable if you really do end up with a very fine powder. Additionally, when grinding something, people tend to refer to the metal that goes flying as sparks.
In the jewelry trade it is known as lemel or lemels. An alteration of earlier limel, limel, from Middle English lamel, limel from Middle French limel, from Old French from lima to file, from Latin lime. Merriam-Webster Online. Though in all the years of living with my father, a silversmith, I never heard him use the word. He simply called it filings or scrap, depending on size. Though it was always assiduously collected.
The metalwork equivalent of sawdust is swarf. The OED has this as fine chips or filings of stone, metal, or other material produced by a machining operation.
For the small pieces that come off from a machining process like drilling, milling, or turning on a lathe, these are often called turnings if you are selling them to a scrap hauler. The smallest dust-sized pieces that would come from grinding or saw cutting are sometimes also known as filings or fines. When I learned to program a CNC laser some years ago, I was taught to call the small waste metal pieces that indicated a less than perfect cut dross. This same waste from a plasma cutter or oxygen acetylene torch would more usually be referred to as slag, although I always saw little difference between the two terms.
If you want to support the channel, please consider subscribing.